Stay tuned after this episode for important news about the future of the RV entrepreneur. Spoiler alert, if you don't already subscribe to the RV Life podcast, go do that now.
To go all in and have this mindset of working crazy, crazy hours, it was this sprint-based approach in building a business, and I burned myself out. Like, I wanted to quit. I wasn't happy. And for me, this time around, what success looks like is very different. It's not about how quickly we can grow and build and sell this thing. It's about doing something that I don't feel I have to ever escape from.
Welcome to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, the weekly show for nomads, work campers, RVers, and entrepreneurs looking to earn a living or build a business while enjoying the RV lifestyle. This week's host is Glenn Willard. Let's settle in and enjoy the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, brought to you by RV Life.
Welcome to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Glenn Willard, your host this week, and today we have the privilege of speaking with Heath Padgett. And for those of you who don't know, the foundation of the RV Entrepreneur Podcast was forged by Heath and Alyssa. Now, fast forward through several ventures later, and Heath's latest project is RV Help, which is a website designed to help RV owners quickly find a qualified RV tech in their area. Let's get to the business side in the scoop from Heath himself. Hello, Heath, and should I say welcome back to the podcast?
Yeah, thanks for having me back on the RV Entrepreneur.
Help us out and fill in our listeners, your old listeners, on some of your history and how you came to forge what we are listening to now.
Oh gosh. Well, this was a podcast that I hosted for 5 years, I recorded the first episode for RV Entrepreneur in 2015. I didn't release it until a year later in 2016, but then I did have the show for several years. And I think I did like 200 episodes while we were traveling around the country. And so in short, it's also good to re-engage with, people who are still listening to the podcast and around. So I think in general, it'll be fun to share some updates of what's been going on. And also for anyone who has never heard me talk, or, I feel like there's this whole wave of RV owners that came in during 2020, 2021, post-COVID. So there also might be someone listening who has never heard me talk before or didn't listen to many of those early episodes.
And they go way back. I had no idea you did 200 episodes. That's fantastic. I have a feeling that even I, on some of my walks while I was out full-timing, have listened to some of the episodes in the past. So I praise you for this and welcome back. This is such a treat for everybody. But now you've forged your way into something entirely new, and I think you are addressing an issue that was incredibly difficult to solve in the last several years, and that is finding an RV tech for your injured RV, especially if you're on the road. Can you give us some backgrounds and what RV Help is?
Yeah, RV Help is a platform where you can find trusted, certified, nearby RV service pros. So whenever something happens and something breaks on your RV, you can go to RV Help and find a nearby mobile tech to come out to you. We also have independent third-party inspectors on the platform as well. So if you're buying a new or used RV and want something much more robust than what basic PDI checklist looks at from a dealer perspective, you can find those individuals on RV Help as well. But yeah, basically it was born out of the pain point that you and I know well, which is something breaks on the road. You try to call a service shop. It's 3 to 4 month waits because if you can't fix it yourself, it's okay. What do I do now? Try to find a mobile tech. Can I get somebody on the phone? Can I find somebody nearby? So all of those kind of experiences that you might go through, and many of the technicians on RV Help are also RV owners and RVers as well. So they travel throughout the year and they update their location on RV Help. So a lot of times if you're going to Google and just using that as a tool, you might not actually be able to find a lot of the certified techs in your backyard because they may have just come into your area recently, or they might be a couple of campsites over. So on RV Help, you can actually find certified techs who are RVers and, who are traveling around.
Heath, that's brilliant. I didn't even think of that application as I went through the website, that, a fantastic tech that you may be, far from when you're in one location is now updated their location and boom, there they are. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, aside from the need, because you obviously saw a problem and you said, I have a solution, what else inspired you to do this? Did you have a group of people that you were working with where, you know how the group of friends are like, hey, I can do IT. Hey, I can do,
Sure,
did it,
sure. Um, kind of. I did. I had a startup before this called Campground Booking, so it's a booking software for campgrounds, and I did that for 5 years, and then I sold it, and then I took a couple years off, and I was looking at I want to do something again, and I had met a guy named Josiah. He used to come to our RV Entrepreneur Summit that we used to host. And we had hung out and talked over the years because he was building a software as a service company, and I was too. He's technical, so he's actually the smart one and the developer, and I'm just on the business side. And so him and I would talk about learnings and, hey, what do how's your business going? And he had a similar journey. So he had built something, sold it, kind of taken it to completion, and taken a little bit of time off to pursue some other things and just take a rest because business is hard and intense, or it can be. And we came together and said, hey, we're kind of both ready to do something new. And we just started kicking around ideas. And he kind of pitched me on a business idea that he had. And I listened, and I shared my idea for what it might look like to build a mobile tech marketplace like RV Help. And I kind of went through my plans, how I'd approach it, who I'd try to work with. And he listened, he said, okay, I like that idea better. Let's do that one. So in a way, it was somebody that I had known for a while. He had a business went under his belt, and we wanted to work on something together. And as a side note, it's not like in the business details about what RV Help is, but I will say just having somebody who you have a rapport with, who you have a friendship with, who also understands the space and was an RVer as well. Like all those things have contributed to making a more fun working relationship with a co-founder. Because at the end of the day, like when you sign up as a business partnership, you're getting into a form of marriage with somebody where you're going to be working together on problems for years. And so to have somebody in the trenches with you who can make hard situations feel fun, who you enjoy spending time with, is important. I've heard it framed that there should be this vacation test, like whoever you go into business with, like, would you want to go on vacation with them? If the answer is no, then you should revisit that partnership.
I think I love that. And there are partnerships I've gotten into in the past where, other than the one with my wife, for our longest running business, that had I thought about it like that, I may not have made the mistakes that I made. So, wow, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
So how long ago was that? And how long has it taken you to get from where you were when you had that discussion to now?
We're a year in. So we launched in January of this year at the Tampa RV show. We started working on it last summer and decided we were going to move something forward.
That's really fast, Heath.
Yeah, we moved pretty quickly. So we had we have a great partnership with the National RV Training Academy in Texas. So if you're unfamiliar, they have
I am.
20,000 square foot, warehouse, building, schoolhouse, campus, said many different things, the Big Red Barn. But you can go on site, and they have great online trainings, and that's kind of the gateway. And then you could go there 5 weeks to become a certified RV tech. They kind of take you through the ring, your hands-on training. You're ripping apart fridges by the end of it, putting them back together, teaching you how to diagnose problems, and kind of going through a lot of the house problems you see on an RV, whether that's jacks, fridges, water heaters, those types of things. And then you can get extra trainings for generators or solar. And so we developed a great partnership with them. And I had known the owner of that school, Terry Cooper, for almost a decade. And so some of those things have really helped push RV Help forward because we weren't starting from zero. We took over they had an old tech locator that we stepped into and acquired and took that over, as well as another directory called My RV Resource that we acquired. And so we kind of took a couple of these sites that people were using to find technicians around the country, and we really tried to beef them up, add a lot of SEO features. We built 2 apps, one app for Android and iPhone. And so we tried to layer a lot onto them and just move quickly because we're trying to, provide with a marketplace type business. You really have 2 sides of the equation. You have the business owners and also the consumers, the RV owners in this scenario. So we're equally having to build out the feature set to support our service providers, but also on the consumer side as well. So you're kind of building both at the same time, and speed is a good thing, but it also comes with challenges as well.
Yes. a lot of challenges. And Rose has interviewed one of the techs from that school, and we were both impressed. In fact, we were looking into it. We're like, you know what, that would actually be fun at this stage in life to get involved with that. But so you mentioned, you had said SEO and web presence, and what are you doing now to market? Because this is that early stage where you have to get your name out there. And yes, the relationship with the school was enormous. I mean, that calibrated everything, and you launched from there. So what are you doing SEO now? How are you marketing? Let's just put it simply.
We several different buckets. Just this past month or two, we sent out 4,000 mailers to campgrounds with some posters and cards, because a lot of times people go to the front of a campground, they'll say, hey, do you know a good mobile tech? And they may know somebody or they may not. So we just felt that was a great opportunity to build relationships with a lot of great RV parks and campgrounds and say, hey, if you need to recommend a certified tech, there's likely nearby techs on RV Help, and you could just push people there. And we started having campgrounds reach back out to us and say, can I get some more business cards? I've already handed them out. So that's been, I'm hopeful in that long-term effort. And from an SEO perspective, that was a really big lever. So the previous locator was all on one page on RV Help. And without getting too nerdy, we've made a lot of local regionalized landing pages for that pack in a lot of relevant terms for like RV repair near a certain city. It takes time to rank for all those regionalized pages. But even just we've added reviews to the site. They didn't have it before. So we have thousands of reviews now on RV Help for service providers. And anytime that user generated content, Google really likes that. So to be able to, go through that, I mean, there's so many different things that we've done from an SEO perspective, targeting the right words. We've done some ads on Facebook. We haven't really been focusing a lot on a paid product yet. So it's kind of just putting money into those ads. But I also wrapped an old Cruise America RV with RV Help. We've taken it to a bunch of shows. Doing podcasts, is a good thing. So with any type of marketing, it's like looking at all these buckets and trying to figure out what's the best way to reach people, what's the most cost effective, what's the best for telling the story, and those types of things. And I don't necessarily think we've found all of it, but we're trying a lot of different things.
Well, you have to put a lot of fishing lines in the water. And, one thing I hadn't even thought of was going to campgrounds. So that's a sledgehammer as far as I'm concerned with finding, leads. And then, landing pages for each state, each region, another huge tactic that's sort of not spoken about outside of the SEO world. So good move on that part. No ads. You mentioned a few paid ads, but do you feel like you just don't get the return on investment, like on Facebook ads localized? Or
we haven't had a paid product, so there is no return at this moment.
Okay, you haven't.
When we do now, so we have a RV Help Pro product. So the core site is free, so you can go find service providers, leave them reviews, send them messages, and everything. And then we went to a bunch of shows, talked to a lot of RVers, and said, "Hey, we're building this tool to help you get better service. What are the other things you might want to see?" And so we heard things like discounts, on service, being able to, maybe save my service and repairs and get some reminders for maintenance and things like that. Be able to get virtual diagnostic help. So if I'm not nearby, if there's no techs in my area, I'm in a national park or something like that, can I just do a phone call with a tech or a video call? So those are things that we've put into a pro membership. So we do have that today, but it's relatively new, and we're still getting feedback from our viewers on building that out and providing value there. So we haven't really been heavily trying to pump people into that pro membership today. We've really just been focused on trying to drive new business to our service providers. And so that's where we focus a lot of our attention today is, hey, how can we make this a platform where you're able to grow your business, run your business, travel around. So that's where a lot of our time and attention has been focused.
You're almost in a beta phase here, where you're really using customer feedback to refine your product.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, totally. I would agree with that.
Yeah. And that's as young. I mean, a year. That's fantastic. And you, Heath, I give you credit, man. You're doing all the right things. But another hard and difficult aspect is like the customer service. which is something extremely difficult to refine, whether you're in a service-based business, product-based business. How do you guys set yourself apart so that you give the absolute best customer service from the perspective of the customer?
Sure. I think of customer service, again, we have a couple different clientele with RV Help right now. Actually, we have three. We're building out some OEM partnerships. And then we have our service providers, and then we have RV owners. And so they really all fall under customer service. And if I get too granular in this, I would there's a girl on our team named Elizabeth. She's a full-time RVer, and she is the person who's running all of our customer service today. And so she's really honestly finding somebody who is incredible at talking to RVers, but she's doing something called concierge service today for RV owners. Like if somebody reaches out and for some reason they're having trouble getting in touch with a technician or service provider and they just need extra help, she steps in to help get them across the finish line. So, hey, you can't find anybody in this area. Let me figure out who I can get in touch with you. We also recently built a feature called emergency dispatch. And this was based on feedback from RV owners. It's not roadside, but if you have a slide out that gets stuck, or you have a critical system, like a AC going out in Texas in the summertime would be, considered an emergency as somebody living in an RV. So basically with this feature, you go into RV Help, put in your emergency, and then it'll get blasted out to the nearest 20 providers. So you don't have to spend time, phone calling everybody, waiting for responses back, because we want to elevate that situation. And so in my mind, the end goal is being able to connect RVers quickly whenever they have an issue. And that's really the frame on how we're trying to build out features into the platform, so that you don't have to sit around and wait. Because we've used services in the past, like roadside or whatever, and there's inherently a bunch of phone call scenarios that happen there. You call the roadside, and a lot of these platforms or companies they have their own databases, but they also are just Googling, what texts are nearby? How can I, really? So you're, in a way, some of what we're doing is cutting out a little bit of the middleman, where you just reach out to the service provider. We have messaging built in right into the app. So the service providers have their own login on RV Help. They could get your message. They can call you, they can talk to you, they can share the rates with you, all those types of things. So we're trying to streamline that as much as possible.
So it's still under development.
What is it?
That's still under development then.
The app?
Yeah, the emergency feature.
Oh, it's live. People are using it. It's just new. Yeah.
So it's also in beta and it's being refined. Okay, good deal.
Yep.
How do you stay on top of technicians and qualifying the right technician? I know you have the relationship with the school, but each technician is a human being, and
sure,
they may not respond quickly. They may respond quickly. They may be unprofessional in their manner. How do you stay on top of that? In my last business, I had to really screen who worked for me and the service providers, because that person represented the business that we worked so hard to build. So tell me how you screen.
Yeah. So as of today, all of the techs on RV Help have went through the NRVTA, or they're an inspector, and so they went to NRVTA and done the inspector course, and went to become an NRVIA member, which is the National RV Inspectors Association. And so all of the techs today have done hands-on training. And a lot of them will do continuing education as well. So they upload, if they've done a Firefly or Lippert certification, and they add those certs to their profile. And we haven't opened it up where we're just saying, hey, you're a mobile tech, come on as part of RV Help. But we have had a lot of service providers, technicians reach out, and really good ones as well. So that's been a big topic of conversation of what we look at doing moving forward. But as of today, we're really reliant upon the partner with the National RV Training Academy, because they're producing the most technicians in the country. Just they are. And so the RVTI school in Indiana, they do a lot for dealerships. They're funded through OEMs and dealers. And most of the technicians who go through that school are focused on becoming a dealer technician. And then maybe at some point they might become a mobile tech. A percentage are also becoming mobile techs. But everyone who goes through, for the most part, many who go through NRVTA are looking to run their own business, be their own boss, and provide their own services. And so that's really been a great fit for starting. So, and the way that I look at it, and this will evolve over time, is certification and hands-on training is great and critical for a baseline. But the other piece of that is, how are you taking care of RV owners and customers? So like, are you providing a good business? Are you being communicative? So we're starting to track response rates on the platform. We already have reviews. And so if you think about it being like it's not a 50-50 split, but if it's half, hey, trained competency, staying up to date on new certifications, and then the other part of that being, am I fair to customers? Do I respond well? Those types of things. That's where I believe a platform like RV Help is helpful, and will continue to be even more so moving forward, because it won't just vet, is this person have credentials, but it will also tell you what our other RV owners' experiences are with these providers.
That's where I was going with that question. Thank you for answering that. That's very important. So you've got a filtering process already with the school, but then now you are able to track and find the right RV tech, because I mean, that is a pain point for so many people. I called so-and-so to come out to my RV. I'm desperate. I'm getting all kinds of quotes, and this person just treated me, like a turd. So to filter those techs out and be able to stay on top of that through RV Help and make sure that the person, when they are calling, they get somebody who is going to treat them professionally, kindly, and form a relationship that they can, maintain. So yeah, I'm glad absolutely. You're addressing that. That's exactly where I was going with that question.
And we're also going to take that a step further, because the other piece of that is like an extra step of vetting that doesn't take place today through our association partner, which is insurance verification, background checks, and also just additional skills assessment. So right now, if you've done the certification course, it's very hands-on. Like I said, you're ripping apart fridges, you're being tested pretty rigorously. So that is a skills assessment. But because we've had a number of other providers reach out in interest in being a part of RV Help, whether they went to another school like RVTI or there's some other schools in Florida, it's been a conversation with our partner at the RV Technicians Association of, hey, you guys are qualifying technicians regularly. You have the questions, you have the knowledge, help us create a vetting process so that we're able to work with other people, but do it in a way that has a consistency with the certification that you've put in place, so that we're not downplaying what a certified tech is. But we also recognize people go to other training schools, and also maybe they've worked at a dealership for 10 years and they know their stuff. And, so people come from all different kinds of backgrounds. So very much looking forward at how we can help and support the other providers who want to be a part of the platform too, but do it in a way that keeps that trust metric of, and you're not going to be able to vet everyone, and some people are going to get certified and not take care of people. But I think that's where the market will tell you, hey, if you're doing a bad job taking care of people, you're not going to be a business long. So
you are correct. The market will filter them out for you. You just don't want too many of them representing RV Help for too long.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, how do you incentivize RV techs to use RV Help?
I mean, the focus today is really driving business to them. And so really two things. One is, can we put a lot of work into the platform? So we've been really focused on driving more RVers to RV Help. So all the marketing incentives I talked about, it's about how do we get more people to the platform so that they know about it, that they're using it, and that they're reaching out to get service, because that's business and revenue and money for our service providers. And then the other piece of so that's one element is, hey, you're going to hopefully stick around and want to use the platform, engage with RVers, as long as you're getting business and work from it. I had lunch with a couple of technicians yesterday, and he shared with me he's getting 3 or 4 jobs a week from RV Help. And when you think about what each job represents, that could be a few $100s easily in service work. So that's a meaningful amount of money. And so as long as we're working to continue doing that for providers, that's one piece. And the other side is giving them tools to run their business. So we recently released a warranty portal so that some of our techs can get go through a more streamlined process to get reimbursed for warranty jobs with manufacturers. And so they can do invoicing as part of that. And we're going to be giving them other tools like scheduling, CRM, and some parts integrations for ordering parts and things like that. So those are things that trying to drive more business and giving them tools to run their business are 2 ways that we're going to be continuing to focus on, getting more providers on the platform and providing value for them.
There's no reason they shouldn't, hook their wagon to your horse and and join RV Help. And that's incredible support. And you don't hear that in many industries. So again, credit given. Are they able, well, how does it, walk me through the scenario. I'm out boondocking and I contact RV Help, and we'll talk about in a minute the paid version and the unpaid version. Let's say I'm in the paid version. So I go through the user interface and I present my problem. And how does it work? Do I get a call from a local RV tech? I mean, I need help.
Sure. Yeah.
How does it happen?
It depends, because there's a few different options. So if you have a pro membership with RV Help and it's an emergency, as I mentioned, you could put in the emergency dispatch and we'll shoot that out to the nearest 20 providers for you, because that's going to be an elevated situation. And a lot of times technicians, not all, but some will leave wiggle room in their schedule for those types of emergencies. And so that's one path. Another one is if there's no providers near you, we have a virtual diagnostic. We contract with 10 certified techs who can do a video call with you. So we could set up a what's called a virtual diagnostic. But the basic premise behind that is if they can help you fix it over the phone, it could save you having to haul it to a service center or dealership. Like with the techs I was speaking to yesterday, they were talking about how with some of the new rigs with Brinkley, they tied their ground. I mean, this is getting nerdy, but they tied some of their wire grounds to several different parts of the RV. So it could be like affecting your fridge or your slide or something like that. So there could be a scenario where that, like a problem that you might be able to actually fix could solve several different things. And somebody might be able to talk you through that if you have a baseline knowledge of, electrical or wiring. You obviously don't want to do anything you're not comfortable with. So those are a few different paths. With the pro membership, we also allow you to create one job and invite 3 to 5 different providers versus having to reach out manually to each one of them. Because that's something we saw we just looked at how people are using RV Help, and we saw that, hey, RVers that really need help and it's urgent. They're just going through, searching, finding a service provider, sending them a message, going through, sending another message. And we said, that's just a bunch of redundant work. So we made it so that if you could still do that for free, or you could also just create one service request and invite 5 different providers to that one job, and it just saves you a bit of time. So, and then you could wait on messages to come back and forth. And then the process is pretty similar on the free path, except it's just a little bit more, you can search people, look at the reviews and reach out to them. So it just depends on what your needs are. And when we've asked a lot of our viewers, why have you signed up for the pro version? A lot of times it's peace of mind. Or we had one woman the other day that said, I've used RV Help 5 times as I've traveled around the country already this year in 5 different places with 5 different techs. And so that was more of like, I want to support the platform and where you're going with us. And because I believe in having this access to, independent small business owners to get service when I need help. So there's a lot of people that just haven't felt they've gotten great service experiences from service shops or dealerships, and they want and believe in another path for where this could go.
Sure. And why wouldn't they support that? I'm on board. So I'm on the pro version. My wheel fell off. I'm in the middle of Kofa, Arizona. There's no one around. How quickly can I expect to have service coming out to me?
I will say everything from our focus today is not really roadside centered. So in that scenario that you described is really more of a roadside assistance situation where you're on the side of the road. It's not to say that our technicians don't get those calls. They absolutely will get messages and inquiries for those types of scenarios. And so I honestly don't have a great answer for that today, just because we're really not set up to be a roadside assistance business. And that's not really the focus that we're focusing on today. Really, our aim is like, our technicians are focused on the house side of the RV. So a lot of your components, your systems, your jacks, your slides, all those things that commonly break on your RV, that happen not just like, I think in our 5 years of full-time RVing, we had one roadside assistance issue. That happens once every few years, but something was always broken on our RV. And that's really where RV Help comes in, is all the things that are constantly breaking on your RV and being able to not have to wait months for service and just get in touch with somebody quickly who has a bit more availability in their schedule, but's qualified to come fix it.
Sure. Well, my apologies. I didn't mean to steer you away from that, but
No, no, no. It's all
there is
good.
a
It's a good
market
question.
there.
Yeah.
I have been in that situation, and it turns out that
Yeah.
roadside will not assist you if you're very far off of a dirt road.
Mm.
So that's another feature that RV Help could really dive into. Now, it's a very small market, but those people are desperate.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've had several rental companies reach out, and they obviously have a pain where they're urgently trying to get people help who are on a 1 or 2 week trip, and that's a big problem for them. And we've been talking through what solutions are, but again, we're still relatively early, and it just takes time to develop out that and also to have the full coverage. We have 1,200 verified pros as of today, which means we verified their phone number, their info, their credentials, and those types of things. And so the coverage is continuing to grow, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to have just more and more coverage over the coming years. So
it sounds like you will. So I'm not sure you'll be able to answer this question, but do you feel like as you acquire more customers and more RV techs that you're going to be able to use, and I always ask this of everyone I'm talking to because AI is such a big thing. Are you going to be able to utilize AI for some of your analytics to refine how quickly RV Help works?
Can you explain a little bit more, like what do you mean by that?
So you're going to track the data of, okay, at this particular region, we realized we didn't think we were going to have this many calls. We're, so many users, and Memphis, Tennessee, we never expected that, but we seem to be getting a very large amount on that side. And that's customer user information. Are you going to be able to use AI to start looking at this big picture and refine things so that you can move faster?
Sure. So maybe I could share what we're doing today, and it might answer that, which is we've recently started sharing heat maps with our service providers on where jobs are coming in. So we could start sharing with them. And we're using a little bit of AI to do that, but it's also just business intelligence dashboard where we can say, hey, these are the hot markets of where we're getting a lot of jobs and where we don't have as many providers, and there's more demand than we have businesses to take care of that demand. So that's something we're already doing today, and really just sharing it with our providers. It's not really anything we're putting out there publicly, but also several of our service providers have reached out and saying, hey, I'm going to this market. Since we started sharing those, we're like, hey, I'm going to this market. Is that a good choice, or should I be going to this other area? And I think that's a great use case because if you're looking to make money and grow your business, then you want to know that the place that you're going to is going to have good demand. And as far as other applications for AI, I mean, this is more kind of business operational, but I'm using Claude every single day right now. And I'm using it for more so speed of development. Previously, when like building software, my process as the business operator side of the business was I would say, hey, I want to build this feature set. Like in our campground booking software, it might have been, I want to build a point of sale, and here's how it should look and feel in our software. And I would work with a designer who would do the UI and kind of a clickable Figma file. And that typically would take like 2 to 4 weeks and cost quite a bit of money. And then I would give that and then we'd do iterations on that. So maybe we're a couple months in that I'd give that to my co-founder, my developer partner, and we would get it built. And today, through Claude, it actually gets me 95% of the way there on my own. So within an hour session of me slamming a coffee, I can go back and forth and say, hey, we really need to get this feature designed into our current app, and I want it to look and feel the same. And I can do a lot of that technical lift today using AI, and then just give the code to my co-founder Josiah or our other developer Pat, and it could be done that afternoon. And so where I see applications for AI are definitely on report, but it's also just the speed of what we're leveraging to build things quickly and things that would have taken much longer through other. So I guess that's how we're thinking about a lot of AI application today, is really like leveraging skills to move quickly.
Speed of implementation. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's where I was going with, looking at heat maps and using that data to, direct your RV techs into specific areas or regions so that things are, ultimately that works better for the consumer. Bottom line.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. Now, talking about the consumer user interface, and you mentioned that earlier, a lot of the RV demographic is older, and they may not have a lot of experience. Well, they have experience with phones. I don't want to say they don't have that, but they may not like a lot of the rapid changes that that occur in mobile devices. Are you making your user interface with the older active individual that's an RVer in mind, not the 20-year-old?
Sure. I hope so. Is my initial knee-jerk reaction is that I hope we are. And we've been getting a lot of feedback from people that have said it was pretty user-friendly, whether they're using it on iPhone, Android, or desktop. Majority use is on mobile, though. So I would just say that that's something that we're talking, like, if you reach out to us, we're responding and we're getting back to you, whether you're a service provider or an RV owner. And we're doing everything we can to make it user-friendly and not overcomplicated. I would think that any business would have that same exact answer, but
yes.
That's the truth.
And I do want to back up and apologize for the sake that, I'm not looking for a lot of negative comments. I'm not saying that an older individual cannot use a complicated interface, but the older I get, the less patience I have to learn something new. So that's where I'm going with that.
I would also think the less patience you'd have for waiting 3 months for service because you didn't hit the road to wait for somebody to get back to you.
Heath, you have an incredibly valid point. Yes. I'll take the 5 minutes to learn to save myself 3 months. Absolutely. How about follow-up? So
sure.
Me, the customer, I'm on the pro or the free version. And the tech has come out. They've repaired everything. What does RV Help and or the tech do to follow up with that consumer so that you maintain that customer as a long time? The long-term value of a customer is
sure.
worth so much money.
Well, I would say one thing we're doing today is allowing anybody who has an RV Help account for free. You can save providers and techs for later. My parents have an RV and my dad said, I used this great tech one time, but I forgot who he was. And so we have a favorite feature. So if you're traveling around the country and you happen to engage with a service provider in Yellowstone and then you keep going and you kind of keep traveling around, that's something I think that could be useful and helpful whenever you, just want to be able to save that person and kind of come back later. So it's kind of a touch point. We're also sending out, regular email updates as we add new features onto RV Help. So those are a couple of things that we're working on. And then we've also talked about the idea of there's so many forums, so many Facebook groups. So we don't want to litter that, but we do have 1,200 certified pros who have a lot of amazing knowledge. And sometimes when you go into a Facebook group, you might hear somebody post something about this and you see all these people comment and you're like, who actually knows what they're talking about here? And sometimes you really get some really good answers and other times you might not. So that's been something we've also talked about of, kind of an RV Help community tab in the app where if you just have a diagnostic issue or something's sounding weird, being able to post it there, but also have actual certified techs be able to respond to you and share what they think might be going on. And then if you can't figure it out, maybe you can have somebody come out and take a look. But so those are the different touch points that we're building in over time so that RV Help could be a useful tool, whether or not you may need someone to come out and get service that day.
Sure. Is there a follow-up email from RV Help where it says, I see Joe came out on Saturday. He took care of your refrigerator. Mm-hmm. Does everything work okay now? Or were you satisfied with it? Not so much a survey, but a personal, are you back on the road?
We're doing that for all of our pro members and the concierge. There's a lot of touch points with that. And just because there's a lot of manual work, there could be a couple hours of support work that is connecting an RV owner to make sure they get, touched on it and followed up with. So that would definitely be part of our concierge support for RV owners whenever they have an issue, that they have a real person on RV Help's team.
Sure.
Her name's Elizabeth. We're bringing on another one at the moment, but who's actually touching base with you like real. The other side of that is we've just recently launched an invoicing tool for our techs who are doing warranty work. So we're able to actually send out automated messages after jobs are complete because we know that we can close the loop from we're getting the techs paid perspective. If they are not doing that and you just reach out or talk to them through text, like we have no way of knowing when the service was complete. So that's a lot of our techs have asked about tools to run their business, scheduling, those types of things. We'll be able to build in more automations as we go, as we release more of those tools. But a lot of that is taking place today through text messaging, and we can't track all of it.
Sure.
But I will say where we can do that, we are.
Good. Glad to hear that. And that is something that can be automated in the system easily. But
Sure.
Coming from a live person, you just gave me the reason why I should upgrade my membership, honestly. From going from free to the paid version, the subscription version, was just that concierge-based service to follow up with me and make sure that I am back on the road and I am feeling good. So,
Yeah.
Answered my question. Now, I dove through your website. I love it, and I happened to stumble on one of your articles, and it made me snicker. So I wanted to know that if you maybe in the future are going to, make sure that your RV techs have an RV help tattoo so that they can get to the top of the list.
Absolutely not. Yeah, that's a horrifying question. No, I guess the background to this is we were a few months in and talking about just adopting new technology. When we pushed this live, it was a big change for the service providers because they had this other platform, especially the inspectors who very reliant upon it to run their business. And it's something that we're very cognizant of. And it's why we've been so focused on trying to drive business and make this useful for providers, because we recognize we don't want to be hurtful. We want to be helpful for helping small business owners grow their business. So, all that to say, we've been doing office hours, meetups in person with service providers, doing a lot that we can to listen, engage, build what's useful. And we were on office hours with a bunch of providers talking about search rankings on RV Help and how they could, get featured. And, some of it was a little tense. And one of the providers, he said, somebody asked, "Hey, can I get featured in my market if I did this?" And then another person jumped in, Bobby, and he said, "Hey, if I get an RV Help tattoo, can I get featured in my market for a week?" And I said, "Bobby, if you get an RV Help tattoo, I'll feature you on our home page for a month." So it was a little off the cuff. I didn't think about my response, and I had never met Bobby before, so I was taking it 100% as a joke. But then the next day, I got a photo of a stencil tattoo, and the day after that, he had actually gotten a tattoo on, and he has quite a bit of tattoos. But I called him after we had never talked before, and I said, "Dude, what? Tell me about what?" I just didn't even know. And he was just laughing. And he said, he said, "I just wanted to create a moment of levity in what felt like a hard situation and a hard moment and bring some light to the situation." He said he was joking in that moment. But then when I responded, he said, "You know what the heck? I'm actually going to do it." And so he actually went and did it. And, we honored our side of it. We gave him a spotlight on our homepage for, I think, 2 months. And now we have we'll be rotating other service providers in kind of as a spotlight. They get nominated from RVers who have gotten a lot of good help from somebody. So absolutely not. Nobody else needs to have a logo tattoo. I do love I really do like our logo, but it does not need to be tattooed on anyone's body.
It's the levity like that forges long-term relationships, though. That was fantastic. You'll never forget that guy. And
I won't.
And he will always be there for you. I guarantee. That's fantastic. Heath, this has been incredibly insightful. You've given a lot of information about our RV Help, not just from the perspective of the consumer, which I think is important, but even more important to the entrepreneur who can see behind the screen here and how you've built and forged this business, which is enlightening. So thank you. Now tell me, where can everyone find RV Help? Tell me about social media sites.
Sure. It's rvhelp.com, RV Help in the App Store, and Get RV Help on Instagram. So those are kind of the easy low-hanging fruit places to follow us or to reach out. And just Heath at RV Help is my email if anybody wants to reach out.
Beautiful. Is there anything that you want to disclose to the listeners or discuss that I have not asked you about?
I would say just in general, like kind of parting thought about running a business on the road, or just lessons for me that I would love to share it is one
Please.
that comes to mind around, because for the longest time, the goal of the RV Entrepreneur podcast would be, I would ask people at the end of the episode what success looks like to them in this life they've chosen. And for me, running a startup right now, I have that thought in my mind. And I think I made a little bit of a mistake. I made a lot of mistakes with my last company, but one of them was that I'd worked really hard to create a life where we got to travel in our RV and go see the world and everything, and like host events and do podcasts. And I loved it. And then I realized I wanted to level up and build a startup, which was really hard. But I ultimately had this mindset that the only way to be successful at that was to go all in. And, like we got off the road, and it timed it well because we were having kiddos and stuff like that. But to go all in and have this mindset of working crazy, crazy hours to do this so that I could prove myself and make something of all this time I'd invested. And it was this sprint-based approach in building a business, and I burned myself out. Like I wanted to quit. I wasn't happy. And for me, this time around, what success looks like is very different with this startup. It's not about how quickly we can grow and build and sell this thing. It's about doing something that I don't feel I have to ever escape from, building a business that I enjoy running every day, a team that I love interacting with, and also living, like having a good business, but an even better life. So we're traveling the world with our kids. We sold our home, so we're full-time traveling again. And that comes with challenges doing a startup. But also it's this mindset of, I'm not putting off my life for the sake of work or business. And I think in a lot of ways that embodies the people that we have on RV Help as well. Many of them became technicians or inspectors so that they could go see the country and live the life and have their freedom, be their own boss. And so being able to support other people who have that same vision and approach to life is meaningful.
That is a beautiful suggestion and point. Having a business, owning something that you never want to retire from, that you can see yourself going to your deathbed with because it is so enjoyable. Yes. And I think you've built that. Heath, this has been incredibly enlightening and a total pleasure. I've learned so much from you. So thank you for being on your old podcast.
Thanks for having me back on, Glenn.
I hope you enjoyed our discussion with Heath about RV Help today. Now, he brought up 3 very important takeaways. First, the right partnerships can really catalyze a startup. And second, listening to your customers is a key component in properly maturing a new business. And lastly, a purpose-driven business venture means doing something you love that will always bring joy. Now, you can find more about RV Help on their website at rvhelp.com. Thank you all for joining us today.
Hey, have you heard? The RV Entrepreneur is merging with the RV Life podcast. Stay tuned for RV Life Season 2 as we bring you the latest RV industry news, travel tips and destination reports, RV lifestyle hacks, and more RV entrepreneur success stories. You'll hear some new voices of seasoned RVers and industry experts. And we want to hear yours. Share your campfire stories and RVing tips for our new RVer Insight segment. Leave a message now at podcast.rvlife.com/contact. Keep it under 3 minutes, informative and entertaining, and we may just share your story. And if you're not already an RV Life listener, subscribe now. Then stay tuned for the new and improved RV Life podcast, where the RV community comes to listen, learn, and go.